we were the recipients of other people's giving for
Mm.
28 years.
Mhm.
Now that we've come back, we're trying to sort of pay it forward. There's always somebody who's going to be blessed by the small amount that you give.
Hey, this is Shay.
And this is Carrie,
Welcome to the Pocket Change Podcast.
where you'll learn better ways to spend, save, and invest and take control of your financial journey.
Carrie, so today's guests have lived and served across the globe.
Mhm.
They've been in Russia, Czech Republic, Costa Rica, and even Cuba.
That's right. And they've done it all while raising a family, building a church, and all with a purpose.
Yeah. And so we're going to hear how they've navigated faith, finances, because it is a
Mhm.
financial podcast, and their community through their mission work.
I think it's going to be a great conversation. I'm excited.
Mhm.
So, our guests today are Russell and Melinda Kyzar, retired missionaries who now teach ESL in Jackson, Tennessee. Welcome to Pocket Change.
Thank you. It's good to
Thank
be
you.
with you, and thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, so we're excited to talk to you guys, but I would love to know what led you to missionary work.
Well, actually, I grew up as the child of missionaries.
Okay.
Grew up in South Korea.
Mm.
And then right before my senior year, we transferred to the Philippines. So I
Okay.
graduated high school there and then came back to the States for college on my own. And that was normal for me. I mean, I didn't know another life. So
Yeah.
in college, we met. And Russell felt like he was called to a church-related vocation, and specifically music at that time and worship.
Mm.
And so we went to seminary in Fort Worth at Southwestern Seminary, and then worked in a church in Texas for about 10 years, and felt God calling us then to be missionaries ourselves.
Yeah, the idea of going as a missionary, we knew that people did that,
Mhm.
but that wasn't for us. We were right here in the States, in
Mhm.
a local church. But then one day there was this really strong impression, and it was like, you need to consider overseas. And I'm thinking, oh, Lord. Okay, well, let's talk about this. And it took a couple of years before we actually finally wound up
Wow.
overseas.
Mhm.
Yeah. Tell us some of the places y'all have lived, and what are some of the highlights of those different countries?
Okay.
Well, the first place we served was Costa Rica.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And if you've ever been there for vacation, you know it's a wonderful place. And
Uh-huh.
we really enjoyed living there. The people are wonderful. The food,
Did you get
the
to go in the rainforest?
scenery, of course,
Yeah.
many times.
Beautiful scenery.
Mhm.
there,
Yes,
I'm
it's
sure.
amazing.
Yeah.
And then we really just felt led to go to a place that had really not had as much opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to hear
Mhm.
about the Lord. And we went to Russia.
Okay.
Wow.
And that
Mhm.
was 8 years there. Were very different from
Mhm.
our 10 years in Costa Rica.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
The climate, the language, we had to learn another language, and it was very challenging, but rewarding in ways too.
Mhm.
We were in Russia during the time right after communism had fallen, so the country was rebuilding itself,
Mm.
and so we were there during those years of kind of reconstruction of the country.
Mhm.
Things have even shifted again
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
since we were there. And after Russia, we went to Cuba, or we were working in Cuba.
Mhm.
We actually couldn't
Mhm.
live in Cuba because of the government regulations, but we were able to go back and forth into Cuba for a couple of years or more
Mhm.
to do leadership training and humanitarian work and that kind
Mhm.
of thing during those times. And then our last place was in the Czech Republic, and
Wow.
in the beautiful city of Prague. Our European office was located there, and I was helping and supervising and coordinating some things
Mhm.
during that time in our life. And so we were in Prague for about 6.5 years,
Uh-huh.
and we came back to the States in 2015. So we had about 28
Wow.
and a half years
Mm.
overseas.
So Costa Rica, Russia, and Prague.
Mm-hmm.
Was there another
Cuba.
place?
And Cuba.
That's
And
right.
Cuba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all of those different languages. What was that like learning different languages?
Harder every time.
Yes.
First one was not so difficult because we were younger. The second one,
And
we were
Spanish
older,
is
and it was more
easier.
difficult.
Mhm.
And then by the time we got to Czech Republic, we were in our mid-50s, and I don't recommend anybody learning a new language after age 50. But
Mhm.
actually, Melinda did really well in Czech, and we
Mhm.
continued to work in Russian some also
Wow.
Yeah.
in Prague. So
So navigating through these countries before you even understand what, the signs are saying, like, I can't imagine how challenging that would be.
Mhm.
Yeah, we did have a few lessons in Russian before we
Mhm.
went, so we could at least read the signs.
That's good.
And
You gotta ask where the bathroom is.
yeah, and yes, those important questions. So it
Mhm.
helped to know just a tiny bit before we
Uh-huh.
went.
Mhm.
And then, so you've spent 28 years in the mission work, and of course, you have children, raised a family. So, what was that like raising your kids internationally in these different countries?
Mhm.
our boys were born in Texas, but our daughter was born
Okay.
in Costa Rica.
Okay.
And so every time we changed a country, we either gained a child or we lost a child who came back to the States to go to college.
Oh, okay.
So when we went to Russia, we dropped the oldest one off to college and and went with those two.
Mhm.
When we
Mhm.
came back to Cuba, we dropped another one off in college, or when we went to Czech Republic, actually. But it was
Mhm.
it was a constant change. It's
Yeah.
very interesting that our kids have a predominant second language, and they all
Mhm.
don't have the same one.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
Wow.
for
wow.
the oldest,
Mhm.
Spanish is his predominant second language, and then for the youngest, Russian is probably hers,
Mhm.
although she has a mixture of both. So
Mhm.
it's very
Wow.
interesting. We
Mhm.
it is of course, it's a different life than living
Mhm.
in the same county or the same city or even in the same
Mhm.
state.
Mhm.
And yet, what we found out is that we received incredible blessings from interacting with other cultures. And
Yeah.
that's actually why we continue to do that even here in Jackson,
Mhm.
teaching English to those who've come to the U.S.,
Mhm.
some who have been here for 15 or 20 years and still don't speak English
Mhm.
well, and they want to improve their English so
Mhm.
they can do better
Mhm.
and have a better job
Mhm.
wherever they're employed. Yeah.
Mhm. That's great.
And it really does just help. I mean, kids, I mean, they're adaptable, very adaptable, but I mean, having
Mhm.
that background of all these different cultures, I mean, it's
Mhm.
really, I think it's just profound that they get to
Mhm.
experience that.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
changes your worldview
Right. Yeah.
completely.
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
It does.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
sure that makes your holiday get-togethers a little different too. Do y'all
Mm.
ever pull out your different languages to each other for
Yeah,
fun?
and we were trying, especially with the grandkids. If we didn't
Mhm.
want them to understand something, we'd use Spanish.
Mhm.
Well, they got
Now
wise to
there's
that, so they're all working on Spanish.
Duolingo.
So
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
so I thought, well, we'll switch to Russian. And then the one granddaughter, she's working on Russian. So
Oh, wow.
pretty
That's
soon we're
There ain't
not
fun.
gonna
going
be
to
any
be able to
secrets
tell
So there won't be any
anymore.
secrets. That's right.
They'll know where all their presents are.
Exactly.
So, obviously moving around and, doing mission work, the way that you guys have, I'm sure there has been lots of challenges. How did you manage your finances with all of those moves?
Wow. Early on, finances were a challenge. Well, always you try to maintain a bank account or some checking account in the States. But at the very beginning, it was challenging because we were new missionaries, and new missionary salary is lower than experienced missionary
Mhm.
salary.
Kind of like a real,
Yeah.
a regular
Real
job.
That's
bills,
right.
I
yeah.
mean, you start at
Mhm.
entry level.
So it was a challenge at the very
Yeah.
beginning. I mean,
Mhm.
for example, we um, we went on vacation separately. We would
Oh.
send mom and one of the kids on vacation this year,
Mhm.
and then next
Usually to
year,
the States to see grandparents.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then dad and one of the others would go on vacation the next
Mhm.
year. And so we did that at the very beginning. And then as they began to come back to the States for college, then we didn't have quite as many people on,
Mhm.
Mm.
that required tickets. So we were able to come back all together then.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But as far as changing coinage and all of those kinds of things, all of that was very fascinating to us, but also a challenge just learning how to budget
Mhm.
within
Mhm.
the money that you were now
Mhm.
using
Mhm.
in comparison to dollars. And you frequently, every day, you were saying, "Now, how many dollars is this? Can we afford
Mm.
this?" And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it worked.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it's, I guess, getting experience living on like a fixed amount. Like most
Mhm.
people may
Mhm.
do that at some point during their life, or thinking about retirement, they have a fixed amount, but y'all had to do that kind of all throughout that
Mhm.
typically,
Mhm.
having a certain amount to work with and got to make it work and fit within
Mhm.
the month
Yeah.
and the budget. So,
Mhm.
That's right.
yeah.
And for missionaries, one of the issues, besides just how much you may receive from your supporters,
Mhm.
because some people are supported by a mission organization or a
Right.
whole denomination, maybe,
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
and others are supported by individuals
Mhm.
or individual churches. So that
Mhm.
that can really change
Yeah.
literally according to the financial aspects of the people that are supporting you.
Right.
Mhm.
So that's a challenge. But another wrinkle in the whole missionary thinking is um, your lifestyle compared to the people you're working with.
Oh.
Mhm.
And so you want
Mhm.
to live within the means of the people that are around you. You don't want
Mhm.
to look like the rich American.
Mm.
Uh,
Mhm.
maybe there are other jobs where Americans go, and that's not an issue.
Yeah.
But for mission work, that's pretty significant issue actually.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So we learned what we would call the missionary mentality about
Mhm.
spending and what we would spend on and what
Mhm.
we would not spend on and just
Mhm.
hold off till later or
Mhm.
some other time.
Yeah.
Modest living.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's right. Modest living. That's a good
Mhm.
way to put it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow, I've never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Mm.
And so, with all these different cultures and places you've lived, you've probably built a lot of different community, and that was probably important. So, talk a little bit about the community and why that was so important in the different places you've lived.
Mhm. I think our closest community and really our family became the other missionaries and their
Hmm.
kids.
Hmm.
They called us aunt and uncle, and
Yeah.
we just had a very close bond with them. But then our community became our national friends as well,
Hmm.
Mhm.
and it was in each country different, and the way to
Mhm.
build relationships and all and community was different everywhere we lived, but always important.
Yeah.
And just like in the States where it, your church family, sometimes we call it church family
Yeah.
actually,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
your church family becomes a close group of that supports you and you support
Mhm.
mutually. That's true also overseas. And so you're working in their language, you're trying to learn their language, they're trying to be they're trying to be uh, patient with you. They're trying to
Mhm.
help you learn their language
Mhm.
and their culture, and that bonds you with them. It
Right.
really
Mhm.
does. And so the churches that you're involved with overseas become very close to you, even much more than just
Mhm.
the culture at large.
Hmm.
Mhm.
But that's really that was critical for us for
Right.
our survival
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. So do you all keep in touch with the friends that you made overseas?
Mm.
Very much so. In
Mhm.
fact,
Absolutely.
next week, one of our friends from Costa Rica, who we've known all of these years,
A
Wow.
are
Mhm.
coming to
couple.
visit us here
Mhm.
in Jackson,
Oh, that's
Oh.
and
great.
Yeah.
they're gonna be with us for a couple of weeks. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's wonderful.
Hmm.
Mhm. So we know you guys have retired from full-time international mission work, but what are you involved in now?
Well, I think we've already mentioned that we do
Mhm.
teach English as a second language
Hmm.
through
Mhm.
Inglewood Baptist, and it's a constant in and out because some will
Mhm.
come for a while and then they get a job and they leave us or they move, and so it's and we've also had a pretty good turnover in different nationalities that have
Mhm.
come. We've had all different languages
Mhm.
and um, really built some wonderful relationships with our students.
Of course,
Uh,
we're doing it through our church, and there
Hmm.
are various churches actually in Madison County and Gibson County that are they're doing this as well.
Yeah.
And of course, there are two reasons. We want to share our language with them,
Mhm.
but we also want to share some spiritual things with them, and so we
mhm.
get
Hmm.
that opportunity as well to
Mhm.
talk to them about things that are important to us
Hmm.
in the faith category. So we do that. They are glad to hear, and many times they actually come from faith communities in the country
Mhm.
they were from.
That's
Yeah.
great.
We find
Mhm.
that actually they're not afraid of coming to a church to
Mhm.
get English lessons because
Oh.
they were a part of a church or something where they were before. But
Mhm.
some aren't.
Yeah.
Some
Mhm.
come without any experience. So
Right.
that's a really good. It's a really good opening for us.
Yeah.
How long does it typically take for them to learn English?
Mm. When they first come, we give them an evaluation and we
Mhm.
see, are they just ranked beginner or do they
Mhm.
know some? And we have books on 4 levels
Okay.
from the very beginning to level 4 is getting to very conversant. And
Mhm.
how long does it take? It really depends on the
On the
student.
right.
They say 95% of language learning is motivation.
Wow.
Oh.
And so when they feel like I've got to have it, they're
Mhm.
going to apply and they're going to
Mhm.
study and they're going to come to as many classes as they can.
Mhm.
On Monday, we have an 8:30 class and a 10 o'clock class. And lately, some of them have been asking, could we come to both and just
Mhm.
stay the whole morning?
That's
And
great.
sure, it was
Yeah.
fine with us. So it really is about their
Mhm.
motivation. And some come with a higher education.
Mhm.
But if they really want to learn to speak the language, they will.
That's interesting. Mhm.
They come to us with their question of the week. Oh, I heard this word. What does this word mean? You know,
Mhm.
or
We don't say that word.
So in other
that
words,
happens
they
occasionally.
get
Right.
yes, you get out of it what you put in it. So that goes for everything, even
That's
languages.
exactly right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
You talked a little bit about this, with people being able to share the impact of their learning English as a
Mhm.
second language. But how does that help our community? What would you say to that?
Wow, that's a good question.
Mhm.
I think the ones who come to us, first of all, the job that they have now doesn't require English,
Hmm.
but they know if they want that job,
Mhm.
they must learn to speak English.
Mhm.
So that helps the community. Now they are
Yeah.
interacting with other people in the
Mhm.
community, just like we did when we went to their countries,
Yeah.
and we were trying our best to do it on just words until we could get phrases and then sentences.
Mhm.
And now we're actually interacting in the community. So when you meet somebody in Jackson who you can tell doesn't speak English, for you to say to them just a word or two, means we want to help you to engage Jackson. And I
Yeah.
think that's a terrific thing
Mhm.
because they're uh, we know exactly how they feel.
Yeah.
We know
Mhm.
exactly
Yeah.
how they feel.
Mhm.
But it's not awkward. It shouldn't be awkward for us here in Jackson because we speak the language.
Yeah.
And so we
Right.
should embrace them like I know they embraced us in the countries where we
Mhm.
were.
I think we both recently, a couple months ago, got to enjoy the Food and Art Festival in Jackson
Mhm.
that they have every year. And, just so amazing the cultures represented in the countries and how many different cultures are represented just in
Mhm.
Jackson, not even counting outside in the
Right.
rural areas and
Mhm.
everywhere. So it's really cool to see all that
Mhm.
here
Right.
in this
It
area.
really is
Yeah.
amazing, and they're
Mhm.
from all over the world.
Mhm.
And of
Yeah.
course, they all bring their foods.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Some of them
Mhm.
open restaurants here, and
Yeah. We
we're
love
glad
those.
to
We're
go
very
to
thankful
those.
for that. Yes.
In fact, that's probably our first
Mhm.
interaction with their
Mhm.
cultures is through their food,
Mhm.
and it's a
Gathering
great
around a table together.
Mhm.
Yeah.
gathering around the
Mhm.
table. And so, but that event, I think, really shows us just how diverse uh, we are, and
Right.
maybe
Right.
we don't realize it every day.
Exactly.
But
Mhm.
when you see them all together and they're doing their parade of flags
Yeah.
Mhm.
and they're dressed up in their
Mhm.
costumes, it's traditional costumes we
Yeah.
call them, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just pretty amazing to see. Wow, look what has come to our community
Yeah.
and enriched us. So it's
Mhm.
good.
Mhm. We often talk about food on this podcast. So, out of all of the countries that you've lived in, what was your favorite food?
Melinda makes a great dish from every country we've ever been
Right.
in.
Oh,
I
wow.
tend to adopt the other ones that were our favorites, and
Mhm.
I guess in general, I love Costa Rican food.
Mhm.
It's very simple. They black beans and rice almost every meal,
Very simple, huh?
and the plátano, the fried plantains,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and just
But then
it's really good.
chicken and rice,
Mm.
arroz con pollo,
Yeah,
Mhm.
is an
that's good too.
excellent dish that she
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
And
Making
then
me
beans and
hungry.
rice
I
with a
know.
fried egg on top.
Oh,
Okay.
yum.
I mean,
Mhm.
that's and little
Mhm.
chunks of meat on the side.
Mhm.
excellent.
So when can we come over for dinner?
Well, we'll have to
Next
plan
Friday night.
Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Yeah, our
Oh,
friends
he
are
said
Our friends will
next
be
Friday.
here, and we'll be having Costa Rican
our
food.
Costa Rican friends are coming in.
Okay.
I'll have her
Save a
fix the
seat for
food.
me.
Yeah.
So this time of year, a lot of us have giving and thankfulness on our minds. Why do you feel giving is important to you?
Wow.
Mm.
The number one thing I would say is uh, we were the recipients of other people's giving for
Mm.
28 years.
Mhm.
And we knew that people were wanting to support us, and we knew that we had a responsibility for them. So it is both time while we were overseas we gave, but also now that we've come back, we're trying to sort of pay it forward, to other people.
Mhm.
And that's
Mhm.
just a great rule for our culture
Mhm.
Mhm.
is that we don't have to wait until somebody does for us to
Mm.
to reciprocate and give them a
I
gift or whatever,
absolutely agree with you.
you know.
Mhm.
But to help those that we see that really need help,
Mhm.
and then to join with others in doing something
Mhm.
even bigger than what we could do alone.
Right.
Right.
And maybe don't just do it this time of year, right?
Oh, and that
Mhm.
You know?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
It feels good to give, and it sounds like you
Mhm.
guys have been very blessed with receiving. So
But
it's great to be able
Definitely.
to give back.
we really, really have. Our kids know that they saw it happen in their life.
Mhm.
They know that we wouldn't have been here except for the generosity of many,
Mhm.
many, many
Mm.
other people.
Mm.
And so, yeah, we owe a lot. We owe a lot.
So if someone's new to giving or generosity, and they've never kind of put it to practice, what's some advice you would give somebody who's, it's this time of the year I want to start paying it forward or giving more? What would you say to them?
I think you start out where you are.
Mm.
You don't wait until you think you're rich and then you've got plenty of money to give away.
Right.
You start out where you are.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You don't
Mhm.
wait. And so there's always somebody who's going to be blessed by the small amount that you give. The Bible talks about the widow who gave her two little coins,
Mhm.
and the comment that Jesus made about that was that she gave more than anybody else,
Mhm.
and she gave because it was out
It
of
was a
her. It was
sacrifice.
her
Mhm.
Yeah.
sacrifice,
Mhm.
and so if we sacrifice a small amount, um, God says He will bless us, for our own sacrifice. But it, we don't need to wait until later in life.
Mm.
I would encourage all the
Mhm.
young families to teach their kids, in fact, even give their kids a small amount of money and let them choose where they're going to give it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've heard of
Mhm.
families doing that, and that
Mhm.
really, really produces a great result.
Well, it's
Mhm.
like these piggy banks or this piggy bank on the table. You can use it, and sometimes they have ones divided into different compartments where there's
Mhm.
save, there's
Mhm.
spend, but there's a
Mhm.
giving, there's a
Ah,
give.
Right.
This one's
Mhm.
not; it's just one. But we've seen those different
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of containers where it's got like,
Mhm.
okay, this
Right.
change is for giving, this is for saving, spending. So
uh-huh.
Mhm.
that's a good thing just to keep in
Great
mind.
thing.
Parents or families that have
Mhm.
kids, or for yourself, just say, how am I going to
Mhm.
budget this
Mhm.
and separate this? That this is for giving,
That's
paying it
good.
forward to somebody, or if you're involved in a faith community, doing
Mhm.
it that way, whatever the case is, that's
Mhm.
important
Agreed.
to think about.
Yes. I also think it's important to note that if you don't have the money, you can also give time. And it
Yeah.
sounds like you
Mhm.
guys have given time and money.
Mhm.
So thank you for that.
Mhm.
You're
Well,
welcome.
Mhm.
we have a number of other volunteers helping us in this
Mhm.
ESL program, and it just amazes me how much time they're willing to give and not expect anything in return.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Well, I
Just
see people all over Madison County giving of their time in all kinds of ways.
Mhm.
Some are, you know, spiritually related, and some are just community related.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Right.
And participating with young children and older adults and those with no economic means and those who desperately need a friend, or
Mhm.
somebody
Mhm.
just to take them to the doctor or whatever.
Mhm.
And people are giving in so many, wonderful different
Mhm.
ways. And leaders kind of does this like you're doing right now, prodding us all to get beyond ourselves and think about
Think
others.
about
And that's a
Nice.
others.
great thing.
Mhm.
That's
Mm.
great.
Thank you for that. Okay, so since this is a financial podcast, I have to ask, what would be your best financial advice that you've ever been given?
Who wants to start?
My best financial advice was to save from the beginning.
Mhm.
I always have thought, if you save, you will always have that will never be a bad decision.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But if you overspend, it's likely to always be a bad decision.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So don't overspend, but instead save.
Yeah.
You'll thank yourself
Yeah.
later for
You'll thank
Right.
yourself
Mhm.
later.
Right.
You'll
Mhm.
thank
Don't-
yourself later.
Yeah.
One
Don't
of
get
the-
into debt. That
Yeah,
was the other piece of advice. Because it just gets deeper and deeper if
Mhm.
you're not careful.
That's one thing that we decided early on,
Hmm.
and credit cards are a wonderful thing, and we all who use them benefit from them on a daily basis. But we just decided that we would not put more on the credit card than we could pay off at the end of the month,
Right.
and we've done that for, I don't know, 40 years probably,
Mhm.
and we're glad the credit card companies are there. They make a little money on every purchase, and we're glad for that. Everybody needs to make money, but we are trying not to.
You
not-
can save on
not
your
s-
interest.
That's
save
right.
on our
Oh,
interest.
that's
That's
right. Sorry, we're
Well,
not
maybe get a
helping
free
there.
plane ticket.
I was just about to say
eventually.
that too.
Yes.
Yes.
I really like
I
those.
think I've only
Yeah.
got one or two, but that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
There,
Yeah.
hey,
Go
those are
visit
good.
one of your friends.
That's
Exactly.
Mhm.
That's right.
Exactly.
All right, so that's big money, but if you had just a little money, extra change in your pocket, what
Yeah.
would you spend it on? Some pocket change.
Pocket change.
Hmm.
That's yeah.
That's the
Got it.
podcast. Yeah. If you had some
Yeah.
pocket change, what would you
Pocket
spend it
change.
on?
Pocket change. What would we spend it on?
I know. I see what pocket change does. Like I remember at our church, they had a vacation Bible school, and they challenged the boys against the girls.
Uh-huh.
And every day, the girls and boys were bringing pocket change. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Once they cleaned out Dad's pocket on Tuesday, I don't know what they brought on Wednesday. But
Lint.
anyway,
Moms.
They brought
moms,
lint.
yeah.
That's
But-
what was
The
left
couch
at the
But you
end
know
of
what?
it.
At the end of the
Yes.
week, they had a couple of $1,000s that they
Oh,
had
wow.
collected together,
Mhm.
for some project
Mhm.
that they had decided to
Mhm.
do.
Yeah.
And I mean, that just shows you pocket change can mount
It
up,
Can add
That's
up.
right.
even
Yeah.
within the family, even within the
Mhm.
family.
That's true.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you're going after mom and dad and the couch and the car and
right.
everything,
That's
it'll
right.
add up quick.
That's right.
Or you could just, like you said, save it until
Yeah.
it does amount to enough to do
Mhm.
something with.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
good.
all of us, I mean, we see change on the street. We see it, as you say, in the trunk of the car.
Mhm.
I found 60 cents last week in the trunk of the car. I mean, pocket change is everywhere, and it does
Yeah.
mount up. But most of all, you can use it immediately.
Mhm.
You can put it in the tip jar. You can,
Mhm.
give it to somebody who has their hand out, and needs it.
Mhm.
But there are all kinds of ways to even,
Mhm.
use your pocket change.
You
You're
can give forward with it,
right.
Yeah.
I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys sharing your journey with your mission work and all the things that you're doing now for our community and taking some time to spend with us today.
Well, we're glad to be
It's
here,
been our
and thank
pleasure.
you, leaders, for asking us. We're
Yeah.
honored.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to the Pocket Change Podcast.
Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe, and check out our full episodes on YouTube,
The Pocket Change Podcast is brought to you by Leaders Credit Union.
where we power your passion and make lives better. Cha-ching!
I do not like how I ended
Cross
that.
that
Can you
out.
take the last part? Okay.
I've got some things I want to say to some people.
Czech
Did all that.
Republic? How do you say it? Like check mark? CZEC. Leaders is federally insured by the NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Learn more at leaderscu.com.